Hi there, it's Heather. A little while ago I showed you a purchase that I made, some buckram fabric, which is a stiffened, I think it's cotton, it's a woven fabric, and this particular one was white. This is it here. And I bought it sort of on a whim because I was thinking stiffened fabric, that could be quite useful. Might try printing on it. So I took some pieces from it, cut them into A6 size. Some of it had to be ironed, and I had to be really careful ironing it because there's like, I think it's a soluble backing. I'm not entirely sure what it's made from, but it's sort of plasticky, and you have to be quite careful because that can end up sticking to your ironing surface. So I protected my ironing surface, and I did iron some of them and made these little A6 panels, and I tried printing on it, and look at the results. How amazing is that? I'm so pleased with the way it's come out. So I can say, hand on heart, that that was a good purchase, and I'm really pleased with the results from that printing. Now I do use a quite a good printer, and it does take card and things like that, so it is actually quite a good printer to use. So I don't know, about other inkjet printers. This one's an inkjet printer that I use, but it took it really well because it was quite flat, and had no problem with smearing or anything. So I did one in grayscale as well and cut those out, and they came out beautifully too. So I was really pleased with that one's just been inked up. Really pleased with the colour saturation, and also the black and white version as well. So I'm really pleased with that. So that was a good buy, and I worked out for the price that I paid for the large sheet, and I can't remember how much it is now, but I did a calculation, quick calculation, and it came out at less than 50p a sheet, an A4 sheet. And if I was to buy printable canvas sheet, that would be quite a bit more expensive. So although obviously I wouldn't sell prints on this particular material, I don't know, I suppose you could do, there's nothing stopping you, but for my purposes this gives the perfect texture. I could sew that. It is quite stiff, but you could sew that onto projects, and it's taken the colour really well, and it appears to be absolutely fine. So pretty colour fast. So for the price, I'm really pleased with that. The other thing I did with that fabric, I just cut a few little bits out with my die cutter, and because obviously buckram fabric is normally traditionally used in hat making, and I think the stuff on the back, I think that's what helps it to mould, because you would wet it and you would shape it, you'd use a form to shape it around to make a hat shape, and I presume that stuff on the back is what enables it to sort of stay in shape once it dries. Obviously it's a stiffener. So I cut a few of these little tiny flowers out, and I wet it and then just moulded it slightly, and it stayed in shape. Now I know obviously paper does that as well. Paper will stay in shape if you damp it slightly and mould it, but I thought that was actually quite good as well because it's a nice fabric texture. So without having to add an extra stiffener, you can get a bit of texture going on your flowers if you wanted flowers that had that woven look to them. And I thought, well, it might be nice to do a little bit of watercolouring on them. So we'll see how that comes out. I also cut some of the same flowers from some mixed media paper. It's called all media paper, which will take watercolours quite well because of the thickness. So I'm going to try adding a little bit of watercolour to those. The pastel journal that I'm working on, I'm wanting to add a little bit of blossom because I think it sort of lends itself to a spring type feel, so I'd really like to add a few pastel coloured blossoms to that. So that's why I chose this particular die, and I'll show you which one it is because I have it here. So it's Build a Lilac, and it's Sizzix. So there you go, Flower Build a Lilac. So if you were wondering what the die is that I use, that's the one. But obviously it's quite blossom-like. Obviously it's got 4 petals, but that's fine. I'm not going to notice once things are laid up and squished together on a page, are you? So So I'm going to have a bit of a go at watercolouring those now. So I thought that would be fun. So I'm going to film that in a minute. Okay, so I'm set up. I've got some water, I've got my paints, I've got a couple of brushes, a larger one, I think that's a 12 round, and I've got a 6 round as well. So they will be used obviously to add the water and the paint, but I've also got this, it's just a foam mat, and it was from some packaging, and a little stylus that I can use to get some dimension on there. And this is just some all media card here, so I'll probably do a swatch and pick some colours that way. So I'm going to record it, but I might fast forward through it because I don't think I'll be talking a great deal, and there's lots of noise outside as well. there I'm back. I've let them dry a little bit and had a bit of a tidy up, and this is what I'm left with. It's quite time consuming to do. Unfortunately my camera sort of gave out over the last few minutes, so that's why I sort of cut short the footage, but it was quite time consuming to do. So this is a selection of flowers and leaves that I painted that you saw in the video. Obviously I could layer them up and that looks quite cute, or keep them single and just add a little centre, and I do like the way they've come out. I haven't got a lot to play with because of the time it takes to make them, but I'm quite happy with what I've done, and I'm looking forward to using them as decorations in the journal. I really like the colours, I think they came out really lovely. It helped to do the little swatches because I knew the colours then that I was aiming for, so that helped to decide which colours I was going to use on the blossoms. And now I'm just going to have to use them to decorate up some tags or perhaps journaling spots. They are very slightly dimensional. I did shape some of them while they were wet, so and I got slightly different effects depending on when I was painting them. So for example, these ones here have got quite a mottled effect, and these ones I dampened and shaped even while they were wet, and then that gave it sort of a texture which took the paint in a slightly different way, and gave a few more, gave emphasis to the wrinkles in the paper, which I quite like, so that was nice. And the buckram took paint exceptionally well, and also it coloured sort of through to the underside quite readily without me actually having to colour the underside separately, so it literally soaked through, so I was really pleased with that, whereas the card ones I had to paint underneath as well, and it hasn't taken quite so well on the underside, but I mean not to worry because you're not really going to be looking at that anyway, but yeah, I thought that was quite good with the fabric ones. So they are very slightly dimensional, and I think they'll look quite nice on tags, so that's what I intend to use them for. I'm just going to put some flat back pearls in the middle just to finish them off, or perhaps maybe I'll use brads, but we'll see. But that's it for now, and I think that was well worth doing. It was a relaxing few moments for me painting them, so, and I'm quite pleased with the colours, how they came out. I think they'll look really nice in the journal. So thanks very much for watching me, and if you did manage to stick through the video and it wasn't too boring, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. So take care, bye.